Meet George Jetson, his boy Elroy.
Nope. Today we're talking about UFOs.
Yes, we are. Gary, welcome back to the channel. Gary, for anybody who doesn't know, used to be on our original show, Conspiracy Cast, which kind of breathed life into Nope. So we asked Gary if he'd be available to jump on for a very special episode of Nope to join me and Dan discussing UFOs today. Gary, how have you been and what have you been up to?
Well, Benny, we established a really long time ago that I'm actually just a hologram, so you tell me.
You just turned you back on?
Basically.
You were stored on the hard drive this whole time.
I'm still wearing the shirt and everything, so I don't understand.
That's right, he does the exact same shirt.
You keep trying to treat me like I'm a human. I don't get it.
People don't realize is we just ran out of battery power for Gary. He's very expensive batteries, and we just can't afford to buy them on the regular.
True.
Like, have you ever heard of what a triple Z battery is? Exactly my point. Like,
and Benny's cheap. So anyway, realistically though, no, things have been going well. Actually, I'm a media producer at American Furniture Warehouse now, and having another kid. So. Yep.
Now we're just doing an episode of King of the Hill.
So.
All right. So I already explained how this show works to you preemptively, but we're going to go into our first portion. Today we're going to be talking about UFOs. So where do you currently stand on your belief with UFOs, unidentified flying objects? Or
is that what that stands for?
Yes. Okay. Well, today we're actually going to be talking about UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I like that. I mean, I'm never going to remember it, but I like it.
That's what the government has dubbed them because for today's topic.
Yeah, I mean, I see UAPs all the time. Like, I don't know what that cloud is called, or I don't know what that bird is called. So.
I thought you were going to say, like, my kids throw stuff in the air and I don't know what it is.
Well, that happens too. Yeah, absolutely.
Dan, where's your current stance on UFOs or UAPs?
I definitely believe that there are some things in the sky that we cannot identify. I believe these days a good portion are probably people with drones, that they've put some sort of thing on the drone to confuse people when they're using their drone. But I think there's probably some stuff up there that could be something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And to realistically answer your question, Betty, I firmly believe in UFOs and UAPs and all that stuff.
Okay.
Now, whether or not those things are actually extraterrestrial, like, I don't know. Maybe
right. Well, that's the big question.
Right. Like, maybe China's been working on something for 70 years, or Russia, or the United States even. Right. Maybe you got some top secret. Project, some 5-star generals looking up like, I don't know what that is, even though he obviously fully well knows. So I don't know. I believe they're real. Absolutely, people have seen them with their own eyes.
Right.
They still haven't figured out how to get non-shaky footage, which I still cannot. Like, their tripods are a thing, guys. Like, tripods.
We discussed that when we were talking about Bigfoot and Loch Ness on this show earlier. It's why are we still getting grainy black and white photos? Like, every time. It's like,
even
your phone. My phone has enough pixels to get a good solid photo of something. Like,
exactly, and they're like auto image stabilization and all that. And yet we're dealing with this. But no, I firmly believe. Like, do I believe that they're aliens? Probably, but are all of them aliens? I don't know.
I mean, we don't know either at all right now. But today we're going to be talking more specifically. This is why UAPs are important. So there's been a phenomenon going on for quite some time, ever since we took to the skies, that the U.S. government, the Air Force, and pilots have seen things in the sky. And whenever they come out to speak about it, they get discredited. Everyone shouts at them, tells them that they're crazy, that this is stupid. And the government just disavows them entirely, which has led to a lot of people not speaking up about the stuff that they have seen. Now, the government officially, top Pentagon officials have told the House panel on Tuesday, so this was May 17th, so about a week and a half ago. So May 7th, it was on May 17th, so it happened today. They are confirming the existence of UAPs, reporting that there is over 400 UFO encounters that they have no answers for, but have verified footage or eyewitness sightings that these exist. And they are stating they believe that this exists.
Do we have access to that footage? Like, are we going to be
a
able
lot
to
of
see some of it today?
A lot of them have been posted up.
Okay. Maybe
But I
these
can't-
are in higher def. I'm curious now.
Some of them are. It's just people, pilots in their plane, but it's still what it still boils down to is just something zipping by the screen. You know what I mean? Like it's not. You're not going
Right.
to see a UFO with a little green guy waving at you, Dan.
Why not? I mean,
That's my hopes and dreams.
all
Could you
I can
imagine that,
say-
Gary? A UFO just pulls
Yes.
up right next to a 747, and the guy leans out the window. Do you have any Grey Poupon?
I mean, I guess like if their only like real exposure to like Western American media is from the 1980s, then sure, they might think like this is how people greet each other when they're in in an object that is in motion, like some sort of vehicle. So, yeah, I think it's entirely plausible.
Okay.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts that the Pentagon has been hiding this information from us until now? And why now are they letting it out? Because while there might be an official reason, the 4 articles that I've pulled up are not stating why this has officially been released. Because it's not like Roswell where we hit that year of stature that it just came out. They're confirming 50 years of footage.
Right. I'm not sure. I mean, who knows, really, realistically? Like, I don't know. But it sounds to me like maybe their motivation is a smokescreen for something else. Maybe they've felt enough pressure for enough time that they feel like whatever their current information is, or let me rephrase that. Whatever evidence they do have of UAPs or UFOs that they are willing to release is, in a sense, like obsolete enough so that they can let it out. So maybe they've made more contact than we realize with extraterrestrials, if that is the case.
Maybe there is a video of one leaning out the window and waving.
Right, exactly. So maybe they've made enough contact and made enough like headway in terms of connecting with these extraterrestrials or these UAPs that whatever just footage, right, whatever sightings they have from a few years ago, from several decades ago, is in their mind just kind of like obsolete and it's old news, and there's really no harm in admitting like, yeah, we've seen things, which I think in and of itself is not really a big revelation, right? It's like, well, yeah, duh. Like we've all seen things. Like we've seen the footage.
Right.
Like, you saying like, yes, there are things in the sky that we don't understand is a far cry from saying, yes, extraterrestrials exist and they're visiting us. Right. So I think the fact that that's all they're willing to say is like, yeah, we have footage, because obviously like the footage has been out for decades. That's a totally different from saying, yes, aliens are real.
The only thing I can think of, just before you say that, I didn't provide you with that information. The only thing they have said, and I didn't think about this as the reasoning behind it, but reading this as we're going, maybe this is it. He says that the problem is that these could be a potential national security threat, and they want them to be treated this way. The issue is there's a stigma associated with UAPs that has gotten in the way of gotten in the way of intelligence analysis, because pilots are avoiding reporting because they're afraid they're going to get laughed at.
That makes
So
sense.
maybe by confirming the existence, they're hoping that people will be more forthcoming with information, more so than Joe Bob from Alabama telling you about the time he got butt probed.
Right, exactly. So you've got like, for instance, a drone pilot who's seeing things all the time, maybe, right? You don't know.
Right.
He's seeing things all the time, and he knows that if he reports any of them, he's going to get laughed at. So this like announcement comes out, or they're like rallying their people and just asking like their drone pilots and their other types of pilots or their radar technicians, and they're asking them like, so have you guys seen it? He's like, yeah, I saw something about 3 weeks ago. He's like, thanks, man. Thanks for just not telling us. Like, maybe that's what they're running into, is like not enough people are coming forward. Yeah, I can see that.
To tag on to that, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason why they have come out with the UAP, is so that they can steer away from the stigma behind UFOs, and it sounds more official. It sounds more, okay, this is a UAP. It's not, that's a UFO you found because you watched Men in Black last night. Like, it allows them to separate from that stigma a little bit more. And I bet another reason, to pair onto what we were saying earlier with the whole camera qualities getting higher and like more stability and stuff, I'm wondering if that pairs into it of kind of a calming the masses of people are getting good footage. Both we want that so that we can see it, but we also need to make sure that people are aware and like, okay, let's kind of make sure that no one's going to start panicking when someone does go,
Right.
hey, check out this phone footage
Yeah.
I've got of this
Right.
crazy thing in the sky that no one has admitted these things exist. So this is the very first one. You get mass panic because people are like, wait a second. I thought that was just in the movies, and that looks legitimate because
Yeah.
that guy is not smart enough to Photoshop stuff into his footage. And it's like,
Yeah, I know that guy.
I have a feeling
What-
it's a combo of that.
What
Yeah.
if there's a theory that I have seen out there, and I kind of believe this one. What if they're almost like you kind of mentioned something similar earlier, Gary, that they're trying to pave the way, ease us into getting used to more things. What if we start here and within 5 years, by the way, we've also had an alien up at Roswell this whole time? Like,
Yeah, I think that's entirely plausible, and I'm going to touch on that in a second. But I agree with you, Dan. Maybe this is like our governments, and maybe there's other governments involved. This is their form of like public data collection, right?
Yeah.
So they're basically saying like, if you see something, please tell us, which is a completely different tone from what we've known for the past like half century, right?
Yeah.
Now they're in a position where they want their internal people and they want the general public to come forward and say, yes, I've seen this, here's the footage, which does raise some alarms when you really think about it, because maybe we are getting closer to like actual like open public contact with extraterrestrials, and they know it. Right. And they're just trying to kind of now leaning into what you were saying, Benny, like now this is their way of kind of easing us, like giving us some ownership over contact with extraterrestrials. Because there's a really good chance that if extraterrestrials do visit us or they have visited us, it's not just going to be with the government. Right.
no,
Yeah.
I think if they're really that smart and observant, they're not going to do that. No offense to the government.
they're just
but
going to make some TikToks. That's all.
they're going to make some TikToks or like, I don't know, what are these apps? I don't understand. But yeah, I think it may be both. I think you both make some really good points for sure.
So that's where I currently think we're possibly going in the direction of. Dan, what do you think about the possibility of this easing the public? Because I feel like it would be very jarring if they're like, so we've got UFOs, we got UAPs, also here's an alien corpse we've had all this time.
Right.
We've had this going on for 80 years. We just haven't told you because we didn't know how to tell you. So we're just dumping it all on you at one time.
I could definitely see the
Yeah.
easing in. And, I was actually also thinking about it, that I wonder if this is also, because like you said, a national security, to make sure that other countries aren't sending things in and people aren't reporting it because they think it's nothing.
Yeah.
When in actuality, it's like, no, we need to know what is in our airspace so that we can keep an eye out for these things so no one's sending in spy drones or anything like that. Because
Yeah.
I do
I mean,
feel
that,
like
that could be the realistic answer to it, where they're just like, we just don't want China or Russia or anybody sending over
Yeah.
drones, and people just go, no, it's a UFO. I can't talk about that.
Because I feel like I
True,
remembered something happening like that in California a couple years back, where there was like something in the airspace, or there was something that appeared that was very like information gathering, and it did raise a couple alarms. I remember reading a little about that. For all I know, that was just someone making something up. But if it is something
Right.
real, that is something you want to make sure people feel comfortable coming forth with. Because, I will say, as we always say with alien life, if they were to show up and they were to be here, they're smart enough to do that. I feel like they're also smart enough to come up with camouflage technology, something to make it so that we don't fully see them or anything like that. But I could definitely see
Right.
it being a national security, make sure we are not getting spied on, because that
Right.
could very easily be a thing, considering how easy that kind of technology is. Like, even if you do see a drone that you're like, wait a second, is that my neighbor's drone, or is that opposing as my neighbor's drone?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think, Dan, you actually make a good point that, it gives ownership to the United States. But if other countries know that the average American is now like free and open to report anything they see that's out of the ordinary, that's kind of a deterrent as well for other governments to spy on us, at least for like in an aerial point of view. I think that's totally plausible as well. But you're right. Like if an extraterrestrial civilization has reached us and they've broken the speed of light, they know how to travel faster than the speed of light. Yeah, who's to say they also don't know how to camouflage their ships or even themselves, right? Like we can travel across the entire universe, and you think we can't disguise ourselves as one of you? Like, really?
I mean, that's the plot to X-Files, isn't it? Like, literally,
right.
they come down to look like us. It turns out they're actually aliens.
All right, exactly. Yeah, lots of shows. Yeah, lots of shows and movies and stories have done that kind of thing. But I think that we really overestimate our complexity. And we overestimate our importance in the universe as well. And so for all we know, they're just curious and they're not really invested in Earth. And they're just, but I mean, then again, like there are reports of, was it around World War II? There were reports, or maybe it was during the Cold War. I think it was during the Cold War, of ships, and this is all declassified now, of ships actually like hovering over nuclear warhead facilities and dismantling these nuclear warheads in the United States and in Russia and across the world. So it wasn't just us. Like they weren't just dismantling our warheads; they were dismantling warheads all over the planet. Right. And you can look this up online. It's all very public information. But again, whether or not they're actually extraterrestrials, who knows? But yeah, I think they could be walking among us, and maybe they have been walking among us. Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason we haven't gotten reports in a long time, is they've just gotten better at it. And now they're slipping up, and people are like, wait a second, this is coming back full circle. Let's kind of...
Their training videos are letting them down.
The military in military fashion has created the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. Now, how do I join that?
Right, that sounds
Why does it sound like it's going to be a show?
Yeah, what does that consist of? Are they involving civilians? Is this just...
It's a program within the United States Naval Intelligence used to standardize collection and reporting sightings of the unidentified aerial phenomenon, sometimes termed UFOs. It was detailed in the June 2020 hearing of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. So basically, they made it in 2020, and now we're finding out. You know what it probably is? They made this in 2020 and no one was saying anything. And they're like, guys, can we just get rid of the negative stigma? Because no one's reporting anything.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
We are the UFO branch of the military. Can we please?
Yeah. And I actually think it's really smart not to redefine, because UFO is still like a subcategory of UAP, right?
Yeah.
Because unidentified aerial phenomenon, could consist of anything, right? Like a portal opens up. The portal over Norway that I think we talked about forever ago. Like, let's say you see anything. Maybe you didn't see the ship, right? You didn't see an alien ship, but you saw some sort of aerial phenomenon that was maybe like an aftermath or like an after effect of their faster than light travel or something, right? So the government basically wants to know, like, if you see anything weird going on up there, we're getting a lot of traffic and we can't have any of that. But yeah, I think it's actually really smart that people would report all of it, right? I just saw this weird thing, this weird cloud that didn't behave like a normal cloud. Like, yes, we need to. It
smiled.
It smiled. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really smart, because it's not always just going to be, because even airplanes leave trails. So yeah, maybe like UFOs do something similar in terms of atmosphere, space time, or whatever.
Plus, I'm just gonna say, Superman is faster than a speeding bullet, and you can't really see a speeding bullet. So maybe we've got like super people. Maybe this is us finding out we've got metahumans.
That's the jump you went with this?
You know what? I'm just saying, it is a possibility. Yeah. Like, if we're talking, because like Gary said, this is phenomena. Like, we're talking about unidentified things that we can't explain, just simply that is in the sky. Whether or not that's you see someone up there, maybe it is a super person. You never know. Maybe we're learning about some sort of bird that is a lot bigger than we thought birds could get. Like, these are things that they could definitely be if they're saying this is a phenomenon. Like that terminology definitely makes me steer towards there's definitely more than just objects, because I'm like going into the whole camouflage thing, as we often see in movies, or we see just in general. Like, you kind of see weird shimmering or like some sort of weird thing. Maybe one of these phenomena that some people have seen is a giant spot where it looks like the clouds are weirdly blurry compared to the rest of the cloud around it. And
for sure.
They're coming up with or maybe there's a lack of something in the sky that should be there. Like,
just a black spot or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what a lot of the. I linked you the footage, James. You can watch after this.
Okay.
But a lot of the footage in the article is the black spots. Like the pilot just sees a black spot in front, the black spot moves weirdly, and then zips past the plane.
like a
It's
Superman.
yeah, it's,
Like Superman's real. That's going to be our next like big Senate hearing, is them admitting that metahumans are real. They're like, okay, since we're up here, maybe we'll just admit what was it? Hollow Earth, cryptids,
Lizards.
What else?
I'm a lizard.
Lizards. Yeah, exactly. So they're just going to like get it all out in the open one day, and he's going to look really jaded and bored. So
leading to this, we now have a recent sighting that has been posted in what I would assume, based on the name of it, that it's a reputable source.
Okay.
The Charlotte Observer. So Charlotte, North Carolina,
Okay.
has found a UFO. Okay?
okay,
And they posted an article about it, which you would assume you wouldn't find in like a public hearing kind of thing like that. You'd find it like, you know what I mean? Like you'd find it more of a tabloid. Oh, something was in Charlotte.
Right. The National
Right.
Enquirer, I
Yeah.
think is the one.
That's the big one, yeah. So it basically, a lot of people saw a couple of lights heading over the one of the highways, and there is a photo of it here. But Gary, since you can't even see us, I doubt you can look at this.
I
What?
looked it up. I
Yeah.
The Charlotte Observer,
Yeah.
I'll bring my
okay.
background back up in a second. Let me look it up here.
that weird box light in the thing.
Like,
Yeah,
that's like a incredibly abnormal and large
yeah.
thing.
So it's still unexplained. The only explanation
my.
is, yeah, that's a pretty substantially large thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a Tron. It reminds me of a Tron ship. But yeah, that's. Yeah, how do you explain that away exactly?
So the only possible explanation, and they are leaving the
Okay.
article with, it is unexplained. We don't have an explanation.
Well, of course, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. But that's what I like about this. Instead of just being like, no, it was this, then we're leaving it with, no, it's unexplained. Government, look into this. Because they're stating that it looked weird, like it was zipping straight forward, or zipping straight up instead of forward, almost like it was hovering. The closest thing that they think that could have been is, where was it? It was the planes are flying extremely low due to severe weather in the area. So one commenter pointed out, but even provided links of maps that shows the paths that two flights took over the road, which is Interstate 485, which is where they assumed it was at.
Right.
Okay.
So the only explanation we have is that it was stormy weather and planes were flying weirdly low. But that, I don't think that answers the question of how did it seemingly go straight up instead of forwarded up.
Well, and keep its form, like keep its shape. This is always the problem with these UFO sightings and other explanations that clearly don't align with reality. Because you have this very distinct, like almost complete U shape, or like a big shape of like a staple. And it keeps its shape. The lights are very distinct, and it moves upward. I can't think of, not even the most advanced, maybe drones could do that, maybe. But even they like shift and change and wobble a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because of like, that's a big area to cover. But certainly not airplanes. Like, yeah.
Because like those lights in that photo right there, those don't even look like an airplane wing or anything.
No, not even remotely. Yeah, not even remotely.
No, that's not to say it can't be. I'm just saying like this looks odd.
Right.
It looks very odd.
I don't think it's a stretch to say those are not airplanes.
So, but do you think that this information would have been made public and posted on the Charlotte Observer and left we don't know what it was if that hearing hadn't already happened a week before this?
Yes. Actually, no, I do. I think it would have been posted anyway, for sure.
I'm looking at it from a skeptic point of view, aka the Sal point of view.
To play Sal's advocate here.
Exactly, to play Sal's advocate here.
We don't have Sal, so we need someone to not believe anything we give them.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could see is some, like, we have seen weird phenomenon which is very explained. Like we have seen some stuff like that we later go, okay, that was just a weird reflection of the light, and the only thing that the skeptic part of me could say would be that it's some weird reflection on that gas station right next to it that has, like, it has a kind of boxy shape or maybe something else, and there's some sort of cloud. Because if it's during a storm, there are clouds moving. If a cloud is moving upwards and there's some sort of reflection on the cloud, it would appear to go upwards, and being a reflection, the shape would stay the same.
Yeah, so
like
it's
a stretch, because honestly, I can't see anything else in that image, or maybe like a reflection of some of these lights in the water on the ground. Like there is the potential of this being some sort of reflection, and that's why there is a side of it that you cannot see, because light reflecting on something, there would be the part that the shadow would prevent it from getting the light. But that is the only thing that I can even stretch to think of, because personally, I don't think that is the case. Personally, I think that's something up there. Maybe it is drones. Maybe it's someone testing out a new drone pattern, or maybe it's someone that does, because it is, like they said, in a storm. Maybe there is some sort of meteorology drone program in effect, because
it's a weather balloon.
I mean,
or Lady Gaga's planning her next, concert. Yeah.
Like there are things like that.
Okay, not playing salvo
for it.
Not playing salvo. Dan, what do you think it is?
Okay. So what I think, that looks like something that is definitely taking advantage of the fact that there is a storm, that there are clouds in the way, and I think it's something that is kind of in the, wait a second. It's kind of like the like if you're like, we'll say like in a musical or something, there's someone behind stage, and they're trying to peek out behind the curtains, and they realize that they've been seen, so they slowly put themselves away so that they don't get noticed even further, because that does look like some sort of like in regards to my reflection theory, maybe it's not something reflecting off the ground. Maybe it's something being reflected in the sky that people weren't, or that whatever is in that was not prepared for.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe they wanted to observe much more closely, through the clouds, right? I mean, even the best cameras, you can't really see through clouds, so maybe they just wanted to see with their own eyes, right? They wanted to get under the clouds.
Maybe they're aliens and they can see through clouds.
Yeah.
And they see well through it that they're like, wait a second. Guys, are we seeing through a cloud, or is there no cloud there?
We went too low. You went too low, Bob. Bob, raise the spaceship.
Go. Nice and steady. Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to see them closer.
The humans have 10 digits. What do we do with that?
10 digits. All you need is 8. It's crazy. Evolution here, man. It's weird. I think it's definitely some sort of ship. It's too cohesive to be a series of individual objects, for sure. Yeah.
It looks like the lighting on the edge of something. It really is.
Well, if you notice, like, it's a little inconsistent too. Like, maybe not everybody's awake in the ship, right? Like, some people went to sleep, some people are
drowsing off, and someone's like veering down. Hey, sir, pull up.
Oh no, exactly. Yeah. So whether or not it's aliens, you can't know that for certain,
right?
But yeah, that's one of the coolest UFO sightings I've ever seen.
So the conclusion, and this is how because when we made up Nope, Gary, we had to think of a way to separate it from the conspiracy cast, history cast, because you guys did a great job of covering everything. Mm-hmm. So the idea behind this show was to find recent sightings. That way we could discuss those as opposed to looking at the history. And so in conclusion, this needs to, well, of course, but this always ends the question with, Gary, has this made you a believer in UFOs?
Nope. You don't know why? Because I was already a believer.
Oh, okay. Good spin on that. Dan is now down. I can see it from his eyes. He is down a rabbit hole.
I am. I found something else. I just wanna mention this. It'll be at the end. This was posted May 25th of 2022.
Yeah.
a black triangle UFO caught in the UK, and it looks surprisingly similar to this. And it's a triangle, but could very easily be considered maybe the corner of the same thing that we're looking at.
Let me see.
I'm going to send you the link.
We'll discuss that maybe next week, though, because that's a whole.
And to throw in another thing, just for the skeptics out there, there was also someone, because it was originally posted on a subreddit. I went through the article, I clicked a bunch of stuff. There was someone in there that was like, well, here are a couple, trying to prove with the airplane theory. They were like, well, here's a couple airplane paths that were going during that time that could potentially explain it. That all being said, that's an alien. That is an alien, or that is a spy ship. That is.
We'll talk about this real quick because there's nothing else to add to it. But yeah, if you watch the video of this triangle-looking ship,
yeah, the video's not loading for me. It's just showing
the video shows this thing moving.
It's on work later. Okay,
and not like an airplane, right?
No, not like an airplane at all. This thing is moving oddly.
The fact that this is
hold on.
Of course, like a couple days after, though. If this is circling the globe?
Yeah, I could see that, but my only issue is, like at the beginning of our episode, it was caught on somebody's home security footage. So it's black, it's grainy.
That's questionable. There was, as a side note, there was a whole video breakdown I watched of, I can't remember, it's Corridor Crew maybe? I think Corridor Crew made this video where they broke down like strange sightings on security footage. And they could actually show you why the security footage acts in weird ways, like in the ways that it does, and why some security footage creates these like apparitions and strange events, because it's like buffer time and bit rate and all that kind of stuff that kind of messes with the footage. So it's really interesting.
The number one comment here, and I kind of agree with this, with all of our mobile phones and cameras, this black triangle supposedly was over this house for an hour. And nobody else thought to take a photo of that?
I mean,
no, they were all on TikTok.
Night. I mean, honestly, if it's at night, we're during a quarantine. Not everyone's going to be outside. The majority of people that are
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's true. So that's true. What time? Like, does it say? Does it say what time of night?
I'm looking to see because the article had to click down to go more into it, and there's a whole bunch of stuff unloading here now.
I mean, there could be a UFO hovering over my house at like 10 o'clock at night. I would never know.
Yeah, you would never know.
I would be totally oblivious.
For example, I think maybe like couple weeks ago, there was the lunar eclipse.
It's like 1 a.m.
It's a giant.
Oh yeah, it's a giant. Nobody's out. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway, guys, Dad, has this turned you into a believer?
I mean, I was like, okay, that maybe there is something. The secondary footage after I was went down that little rabbit hole that was 3 days after, that kind of made me go, there's something fishy here.
Something's going on.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah. How weird would it be if the government admits that these things exist, that these unidentified objects, and then like in a month, aliens just land, like, we're here.
They're like,
oh, that's convenient.
Hey, they warned you.
They're telling everyone here, like, okay, guys, they might exist. And then the aliens are like, well, they're onto us. Might as well just show ourselves. Like, okay, fine. Like,
I mean, they've seen us for the past 70 years. So, I would actually add to that. I think we're maybe 10 years or less from our government or a government just flat out saying, yep, extraterrestrials are real. They've been visiting us. Here we go. I think we're about 10 years or less from that. Like, legitimately. I really do. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in another one there just to end this one off of the making it more acceptable for citizens in the States to reveal this. Maybe this was also a play of other countries might reveal this if the United States government's willing to admit it. Who's to say we're not? Like, the UK is like, oh, this is normal now? Okay,
Cat's out of the bag,
for years.
We have better footage than you guys do.
We just had. I don't know why we let that out. Here's our high quality camera.
Exactly.
They were filming a movie that day. We filmed it like on the highest quality possible.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the return of Gary for Nope. Maybe we'll be able to bring him back. Right now, he looks like the crazy guy that you would invite onto a science show.
Yeah,
because you got like the plain white walls.
I'm convinced there's tin foil on your roof, the ceiling of your office there.
So
and your doors
my desk
opening. Oh,
yeah, it is. It's
Aliens!
my
I
desk
kind of
is
spooked myself there. I'm like,
my like workstation's in the laundry room, so there's not a
Aliens!
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Nope. I hope you enjoyed the return of Gary. We had to invite him back onto a conspiracy show. Gary, are you doing anything that you want to promote? Do you want people to go buy furniture?
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye out for some of those videos. Not really, not at this moment.
Okay.
Just kind of plugging along. I will soon, hopefully. I don't know, maybe.
Hopefully.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next week right here on Nope.